Hi, I'm Allison, a yoga therapist in Davidson, North Carolina. Thanks for joining me for Diastasis Recti Level 2. I'm calling this Diastasis Recti Rectified. We're starting to really bring the gap together. Now this is our second video. It's a little more advanced. It's for women who are at least 6 weeks postpartum and with a finger gap of 1.5 fingers or less. If your gap is a little bit bigger than that, or if you don't even know what your gap is, please check out the first video. It'll walk you through how to test yourself for that. If your Diastasis Recti gap is 1.5 fingers or less and you're feeling pretty good postpartum, this practice is for you. As with all our practices, our concepts here are to be gentle, subtle, and consistent. So please make sure that you're being really gentle to your body. And if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Skip that practice or skip that pose and go on to the next one. If this video sounds right for you, let's go ahead and get started. Our first exercise is going to feel very familiar if you watch the first video. Uddiyana Bandha, upward lifting belly lock. We combine Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha, which would be your pelvic floor lifting, to create a foundation for everything else that you do in your yoga practice. When you have those two things down, most exercises, most asanas are going to feel really safe. Without it, you might experience some clunking of your organs if you're pretty new postpartum, as things are kind of moving around. With this practice of correcting Diastasis Recti, we're working with this fascia, the connective tissues that hold everything together. Think of it like your corset. It's holding all this together, it's supporting you. And if that's not strong, you can strengthen your rectus abdominis, your abs, all you want, but you're not gonna have the structure that's necessary to keep you safe in these practices. So we're gonna go over Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha one more time before we move on and expand your practice. For Uddiyana Bandha, you're gonna take a deep breath in, hands on your thighs. Exhale, pushing all your air out. At the height of that exhale, when all your air is out, your belly lifts in and up. It's like you're pulling all your organs into your rib cage here. And when you feel the need to inhale again, lift up. Let your inhale pull you up. Now, when you're in Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha is also engaged. Your pelvic floor is lifting up too. Everything here is active and engaged. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, exhale. Push all your air out. Mula Bandha, pelvic floor lifts. Uddiyana Bandha, core comes in and up, and let your inhale lift you up. If you feel dizzy at all, take a few breaths up here before you try and do it again. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, big breath in. Exhale, push all your air out. Mula Bandha engaged. Uddiyana Bandha, upward lifting belly lock. Inhale, lifts back up. Good. Take a second and notice that. It's a subtle movement, but it packs so much power. The strength is going to be in the subtle in this entire practice. We're working with connective tissues to try and bridge your muscles back together. So engage that. Remember, Uddiyana Bandha is going to be that core foundation for everything else that you're going to do moving forward. The next one, Agni, Saara, Dahati, is going to be a variation of fire cleansing element. This chakra in yoga would be your Manipura chakra. It's the seat of your power, self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, drive, all those things that can sometimes get lost in those postpartum stages. So we're building up confidence, power, and just feeling good about yourself here, making sure you have enough energy to get through your day. There's mental benefits as well as physical benefits in this practice. So let's get started. Again, hands are going to be on your thighs, similar to Uddiyana Bandha. We're gonna get rid of all our exhale. Breathing out through the mouth until there's no more breath. And at the height of your exhale, you're gonna start pumping your abdomen. When you need to inhale again, you're gonna lift back up. It might feel kind of funky. It might take a second to get that rhythm down. It might feel odd as you're pumping your belly. Remember, we're working with the subtle parts of the body. So at the height of your exhale, there's no more breath in your body. That's when you start the pumping. Play with it for a little bit and then come back up. We're gonna try and do this 2 more times. Again, if you get a little dizzy or lightheaded, stop, take a few breaths. Notice how you're feeling. You might only do this once the first time and then build up. Let's try again. And I'm gonna lift this up so that you can kind of see my belly moving and pumping, okay? So inhale, exhale, out through the mouth. Good. Notice the temptation to make that pump happen through your hips, like to kind of just dance and move around. We really want it to be happening from the belly, from the abdomen, pumping, 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 moving. Let's try it one more time. Big breath in, exhale. Now you might notice that just after that, you feel a little sore. Remember, these aren't your traditional core or abs exercises. We're working with the subtle. You're working on movements and exercises that your body's not quite used to try and build up that structure. So after we do those 2, I want to give you the option here to do some Agni Saara Mudra. This is a hand gesture to help pull your energy into that core. So you just kind of hook your hands on your waist here like this. You take a big breath in, and on your exhale, we're just kind of squeezing everything in. This is more subtle. It's more about the energetic benefits and kind of stimulating of the digestion. If you're having digestive issues like diarrhea or constipation, you might skip this one. Move on to the next one. Take a big breath in. Exhale. Pull it all in here. It's kind of like your own assistant in doing Uddiyana Bandha. You're pulling everything in. And then as you inhale, fill up from the belly and push your hands out. And let go. Nice. We'll do 3, so 2 more, with the option to keep working up to doing this 7. Don't do it more than 7 times, right? We don't want to overstimulate it. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Breathe out. Last one. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. And let go. Good. So we're going to move on to our next standing position, Prasarita Padottanasana. Prasarita Padottanasana, standing wide angle pose. So take your feet wide. Now remember, if you're under 6 weeks postpartum, be gentle with how far you're stretching your hips. Your joints and ligaments still coming back together, and we don't want to overstretch during that period, especially around your hips. So wide-legged, feet parallel to the sides of your mat, hands on your hips, you're going to forward fold. Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha, all engaged. Hands can come down to the floor. If that's too difficult, you can add blocks under your hands here. So Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha, and we're gonna inhale, the left arm comes up. Exhale, left arm comes down. Now be mindful of your hips here as we move to the right side. tendency to kind of splay your hips over to the side. Your hips should stay squared directly to the ground, just your arms, just your torso. Uddiyana Bandha engaged. Exhale down. We're going to do 3 total on each side. Inhale comes up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. And exhale down. Now on this last one, I want to give you an option, a variation. Arm can come out and then up. Option, right arm to come up too. Spinning back down. Coming up and up. Left arm lifts. When you're ready to stand up, engage your legs, engage your core. Inhale up. Now Uddiyana Bandha was engaged that whole time. We're working on bringing the transverse abdominals together. Anytime we're twisting, this cross-lateral movement is really engaged. So make sure Uddiyana Bandha is activated. If you feel any organ clunking, any movement that shouldn't be there, stop and go back to that first video. Garudasana, eagle pose. Right arm's gonna come under your left arm. Then we're gonna crisscross the palms together. Now, if you don't have the flexibility in your shoulders to do that, just hug your arms like this. That's fine. So hands lock, left leg comes over your right leg. This is a balanced pose. Some of you might need to kickstand your toe down to the earth. If you've got the balance, keep your gaze on one thing in front of you. Lift your elbows up off your chest and palms move away from the face. Notice how when my elbows are on my chest, I'm not really getting that stretch right between the shoulder blades. If you're still breastfeeding, this is an amazing stretch to open up your shoulders. So lift your elbows off your chest, palms move away from your face. Try and balance. Hug everything in. Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, everything's engaged. And if you're comfortable, start to lower. Engaging your core, engaging the legs. Take a few breaths and then inhale, unwind. And we'll do the other side. This time, left arm comes under your right arm. Again, you can always just hug yourself here. You can crisscross the arms. Right leg comes over left leg. Keep your toe at a kickstand if you need to, or lift up. Elbows off the chest, palms away from the face. Open up your shoulders and back and sit down into that semi-squat. Feel all your energy coming through the core, nice and strong. And release. Feel free to add more reps on each side. For this video, we're just going to do one on either side. As you get stronger, add more reps to each of these, and you'll start to notice some real differences happening. So we're going to move down to our mats now. I've had a lot of questions about planks and crunches and adding them back in. We're going to get into that now. Most of you, I still don't want you to just pump out pure planks or crunches. Here's a safe variation to start integrating planks back into your practice. It's a down dog variation, Adho Mukha Savasana. So let's get started. Your hands are going to be on the mat about right under your shoulders here. Palms nice and wide. And for your down dog, you're sending your hips high. With my palms, I'm pressing the mat away from my body. With my feet, I'm pressing the mat in the opposite direction, almost like I'm going to split my mat in two here. Now I engage Uddiyana Bandha. So this is all pulling in and up, and Mula Bandha. My pelvic floor is really engaged. And on an inhale, I'm going to come forward. Uddiyana Bandha, shoulders stack over wrist, hips lower into a modified kind of plank, and then immediately press back in your exhale. We're moving with the breath like a wave. Inhaling, pause, and exhaling. Now notice I'm not really pausing for very long in that plank. It's a fluid movement with my breath. Uddiyana Bandha engaged. 2 more. When you've done 5, child's pose. Rest your forehead, rest your hips back, take any movements that feel good for you, and then come back up. Also feel free here in your transition to take Chakravakasana, which is just a moving child's pose. Arching into cat, sinking your hips back, resting the head. Inhaling back up. This can also be used in place of that plank variation. So if you got into that movement and you were like, ooh, I'm not quite sure that's for me yet, start here. Here you can always play with shifting forward into a modified plank and then coming back. Remember that modified plank is always an option and you're still going to be engaging your core here. So we're just trying to kind of warm the body up to this idea of adding planks back in. If you feel like you can't keep that Uddiyana Bandha engaged while you're doing this, start modified. Start here, right? Because we want to make sure that this is really protected and really engaged. Again, if you've got a larger gap, more than 1.5 fingers, the weight of your organs in a plank is going to worsen that gap. So please go back to the first video. If you started that exercise and you're like, not quite for me, let's go back and then we'll build you up to getting here. Okay, once you've done that plank variation, we're going to move on. You're going to be kneeling. We're going to do Durga Pranama. This is the pose of salutation. It's an essential pose for women's health. So regardless of how far out postpartum you are, this is such a wonderful pose for balancing women's hormones, balancing that regulatory system. And we're gonna up the ante by adding a hand mudra, which is just a hand gesture. This hand gesture, Agni Mudra, helps to reduce excess body fat and build up your metabolic rate. So for the hand gesture, your thumb is gonna be on your ring finger on both hands. Kind of like this, okay? And you're actually going to be sitting on your heels, if possible, with your toes curled under. Okay, so for some of you, this might be like a massive stretch in your feet. You're always welcome to sit on blocks, pillows, bolsters, and or books. Just make it fit for you, for whatever your body needs. If it becomes too much on your toes, just sit back on your heels like this. That's always an option. Remember, key elements, subtle, gentle, consistent. Be gentle with your body. Be kind to your body. Don't judge yourself. All right, let's get started. So I'm sitting back on my toes. I've got my mudra all ready, and I'm gonna bring my hands to my heart. Inhale up. My Uddiyana Bandha is engaged, and I exhale down. Notice that ideally my hips are not leaving my heels. My palms face up, and I pause, taking a kumbhaka, that pause at the height of my exhale. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, hands down and around back to your heart. We're going to do this 2 more times. Ideally, you're working up to 5 or 7 times. Now remember, it might be a lot on your feet. It's also a lot in your core. To make it harder or more difficult, keep your arms up by your ears. This is a hard one for your entire core. If it's too hard with your arms by your ears, just let your arms lead first. Let's do it 2 more times. Hands together at your heart. Agni Mudra, your hand gesture. Inhale up. Exhale down. Pause. Inhale up, exhale, arms back and around. One more time. Inhale. Good. Child's pose to rest your feet or any other variation of rest as we make another transition. Hands and knees. Shoulders stack over wrist, hips over knees. Now in our last video, you'll remember we were doing this. We're gonna add on here. So hips stay squared to the earth. Palms are active, pressing your mat away from your body. Let's start. Inhale, left toes come out, right arm out. Exhale, take it to an awkward airplane. It's on a diagonal here. Inhale. Exhale, tap down. Inhale, up. Exhale, center and in. 2 more times. Inhale, out. Exhale, hold. Inhale. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, center and pull in. Everything's engaged. Inhale, out. Exhale, awkward airplane. Inhale. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, center and in. Press back out and release. Key principles. Feet angled down, hips stay squared. If you feel wobbly, practice. Just hold it. Don't worry about getting the flow perfect. And if it's too much, just come back to hand and knee coming in together. Core is engaged, Uddiyana Bandha. Let's do the other side. All right, right foot out, foot's flexed, left arm out. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, tap down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, center and in. Inhale, extend. Awkward airplane. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, center and pull in. One more. Inhale, extend. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, center and pull in. Good. Again, always free to add more reps. As you build your strength in that fascia, that connective tissue, if that starts to feel too easy, add more reps. You can always stay out on the diagonal and do even more taps on the diagonal. It's also gonna get your booty working too. Okay, now let's switch hands and feet, but on our back here. Crab walk. Palms are going to be facing towards your feet and toes. So your fingers and toes are all facing in the same direction. Pressing into your palms, Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha. Inhale, lift. Try and make a nice table so your core is nice and flat. Exhale down. We're going to do this 2 more times. Each time I'm going to show you a variation where you can make it a little more challenging for yourself. Be gentle, stay with whatever level your body needs in this moment, and leave space for growth. Inhale up. Option, one foot comes out. Also option to just stay with hands and feet. Come back down. Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha. If you can't keep that bandha in, don't push yourself to go to the next level. Stay in practice until you can keep your core nice and tight as you're doing these. Inhale, lift, option, both feet come out. Your head stays nice and strong, neck is strong. Come back and release. Let's move down to our spine. Pelvic cross tilts. Now we're getting into our variations of crunches. So go ahead and cross your arms, one hand on either side of your waist, and it's almost like you're helping your core to retrain itself to come back together as you do these. So I'm pulling in, I take a breath in. On an exhale, I'm tilting my pelvis, so my pubic bone's kind of lifting up, tailbone goes long, and I'm pulling in here. Hold. Inhale, relax back down, relax your arms. Exhale, pull. Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, everything's engaged. My spine's pulling in, my core's pulling in towards my spine. And release. Big breath in, exhale. And release. When you're doing this correctly, you should feel everything working here. It's not just like pounding out crunches, you're doing everything. 2 more. Big breath in, exhale. Last one. Good, and release. Now we're gonna add on some variations. Remember that this is taking you step by step in. You might stop here if you really felt that and just work with that. If you're ready to move on and move up on those levels, we'll add on. Okay, so I'm crossing my arms again, this time reaching for opposite thighs. Exhale, coming back down and relaxing. Take a breath in. Exhale, pushing up. Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha. Coming back down, big breath in. Exhale. Inhale. 2 more. Exhale. Last one. If you get pain or discomfort in your neck, move your hands to behind your neck. But ideally, you're crossing here to create that cross lateral movement. All right, another option, eagle on your back. For this one, right arm crosses under, same as eagle arms, left leg crosses over. Hands and feet touch. Exhale, pulling in. Keep your head and neck on the ground until you feel more stable. Inhale, extend. And if your core feels good, you can lift your head and neck up, right? So maybe 3 or 4 of those on either side if your core feels kind of stable and engaged. But since I did 2 on the other side, I'm just gonna do 2 on this side. Good. And release. Now, taking that kind of cross-lateral movement to another level, my hands are gonna start on my core, and I'm gonna, so here I have a little bit of an arch. My lower back isn't quite on the ground. I'm gonna push down, engaging my core, engaging Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha here. Good, and on an exhale, I'm gonna lift and reach towards the side. Inhale brings me back to my heart, hands back to the abdomen. Exhale to the other side. Good. We'll do 3 to 4 more on either side. Inhale takes you back down. Exhale coming up. the whole time I have Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha fully engaged. So really, like if you zoom in, my whole core is almost shaking. It's almost trembling here because it's working very hard, even at these really subtle, really small movements. One more to either side. Good. Now we'll move to our final pose, our peak asana. Our final peak posture is going to be boat pose. This pose engages your entire core, and it's possible to build up to the place where you can be fully active, fully engaged. Let's figure out how to step by step get you to that place. I brought my stool in, and if you're at home, you might use an actual wall here to just lean up against. Now from this point, I can activate Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha, everything's engaged. I'm in the boat position here, but I'm fully supported so that I can inhale 1 foot up, exhale down. Inhale, lift, exhale down. If this is very simple, very easy for you, you always have the option to inhale both feet up, exhale them down. 3 or 4, and then release. You also have the option to support yourself using your hands here. So one leg can come up, one leg down, one leg up, one leg down. Now, I don't want to see you kind of take off into your boat and lose your structure here. So only take off if you can keep Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha fully engaged. If you can keep this all activated, then you might lift without the support of the wall behind you. But you might hold on behind your legs to give you that balance. If this is stable, eventually, you might build up to letting go, maybe one arm and the other arm, or both. This will be a good practice in being mindful, observing your body as it grows, as it heals, as it repairs itself, so that you're working on your practice for where you are each day. Some days it might be easier to get both legs up. Some days it might just be one leg or the other. And it might take some time to get back to a place where all of this is coming together. Keep going back to that first video, monitoring your separation. If it starts to worsen at all, go back to the first video. Keep it simple, keep building up that fascia, and eventually you'll be here in boat. Thank you all so much for supporting my channel and my page. If you've not subscribed yet, please subscribe so that you can stay up to date for all of the videos that are coming out this year. And I hope that you all always feel free to comment and leave questions. I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you're looking for a more individualized practice, please feel free to email me, to reach out, and we can always schedule a Skype session online to come up with a highly tailored practice to your individual needs. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.